Nothing here but dust in the void. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Project Structure 01, a liminal exploration game with a brutalist aesthetic. And some of you might remember this from when I tried the demo a little over a year ago. It combines huge megastructures and making us feel like a tiny ant in something that was never meant to support us, yet that we must nevertheless navigate, with the sort of humor of Infra. And indeed, while this can trigger a sort of horror reaction in people, for the most part it's considered a casual game, something where we're just meant to walk and contemplate, and enjoy the views, and look for secrets as well. It was really fun when I tried it, and I'm really glad to see this finally get a full release on Steam. So, not start, not new game, let's explore. So here we are. Black and white, an object in front of us whose scale I can't comprehend until we see it in parallax. And some sort of space dust falling from everywhere and nowhere. There are orbs of light to mark some contrast of what's in front of us. And this is a very high contrast world, completely devoid of color, though it certainly wasn't on our way here. I'm wondering if we are meant to be a human. Look at that, we've got a full body. I don't remember the time I spent with the demo all that well, except for certain aspects of the experience. So this really is like a new playthrough for me. But this is really cool. We are physically here, and yet not. The store page says that we wake up in this situation. It's like a random human was chosen to be flung across existence into something that maybe by the nature of coming here wants to be seen. But there's really no way for us to know. We can sprint. We can hold C to see our controls. Wait. Press tab to ducks. We can zoom with right click, although it's a bit slow. It's kind of like we're squinting, waiting for our eyes to adjust to different objects. 0 of 6 ducks collected. Okay, I'm not gonna set the goal of finding them all, but I am gonna at least try. Who knows, maybe that'll lead to some sort of unlockable. But what else is there? Other than that, it's really just your standard movement. Look at that. What's the difference between a shadow on the floor and a hole in the ground? Oh, it's hypnotic. Pillar halls. See, this is a game that's going to be able to use its fairly minimal graphics to create some funny spatial illusions. In fact, the texture on the walls itself has been created by a light shining from inside this statue? I don't know what else to call it. Cage, more like. Look at that. The shifting is caused by these things gliding over each other left to right. But if we pay close attention, we can see that there are openings on the sides. Okay, I sorta do remember this. But yeah, of all things, we're looking for ducks. Well, there you go, you've already been introduced. My. At first I thought that this game was like fully monochrome, totally black and white, but if we get close we can see that though the colors may be desaturated, they are present. It's just that the rest of the space is even more desaturated. I'm just trying to move from one open space to the next, or rather, one lit space to the next. You fully turned over. It's rotating around you, causing, the entire perspective to shift. Now I can see this. There is a little bit of a platforming element to this as well. Get up. Get up. Get up. This one might be a little bit tougher to get to. We probably need to run and jump off of that. That gives us a decent leap. Hip. And hip. Okay, we picked up that dot. What does that do? Doesn't seem to count towards our ducks. You could tell because it wasn't a duck. Yep. We don't need a lot of space to get a running start. Oh, man. Yeah, some of this platforming I don't know if I'll be able to do. Yeah, this is going to be annoying, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time running back up. Yep. Made it. Okay, so we've got these. What does that mean for us? These shadows are making it so much more difficult. Yep. Which, I'm rather sure is the point. We can see it being cast over us. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it hinders. Whoa. Well, there's half the ducks right here. More than half. Look at you. 4. And that leads down into that chamber. I'm not sure what those Pac-Man pellets actually do. Can we get behind you guys? No, not really. Do we take any sort of fall damage? I doubt it. No. What is the deal with these things? They make almost like a power-up noise. Hey guys. I'm not intruding on anything, am I? Oh, we can't quite squeeze through those bars. Look, they're all looking at us. Got their own light source. And shadows are like power projection around here. If we come to the end around the corner, there's another way through. See, look at the scale of this compared to us. Do you hear that? I mean, it sort of sounded like a quack, but I'm not sure if it was. It was loud at first, but I heard it just echoing off. Oh, hey. There's one, along with a little doodle to accompany it. Listen to that ambiance. Look at these grand spaces. And then look at this. This contrast is a huge part of the identity of this game. There should only be one duck remaining, so I'll have to try not to leave this area until we can track it down. Actually, if we come over here, maybe we can get around and get to the other side where those caged ducks were? Perhaps not. Nothing around that other corner, so I guess we're heading up. Nothing, not much of anywhere. But there's some platforms on the side. Oh, are those stairs? Stairs are good. I mean, you look around and you think, okay, I'll just go right over there, and then you realize I've been holding down Shift W for a while and I still haven't arrived at my destination. More shadow chicanery. Look at this, it's mesmerizing. And I can't tell how much of this look is the movement of the shadows or the movement of the lines themselves. Look at that. Each moves independently and it makes it seem to move as a whole. That looks like it's probably an elevator. Swept the room, found nothing. Let's see this. It is an elevator. Well, what else could it be? You wanted to see me, sir? Oh, look at this. Those gulfs of darkness are terrifying. Nothing short of terrifying. I feel like I'm about to walk off into nothing. See, things like this, collectibles and platforming, they give you something to do while exploring the spaces. A goal, however small, to work towards besides simply finding the exit. An incentive to poke around and see it for all it's worth. Let's climb inside here. Oh wow, it looks so much bigger on the inside. Ducky! Ducky gone. Ducky was nothing more than a hallucination. Like, maybe my entire existence? I don't know. Ducky's spun me into an existential crisis is what Ducky's done. Ooh, wait. Oh, it's just another one of these light balls. We are in a different location. Look. It's like seeing color for the first time. But we've got some exploring to do. Well, we came out in a completely different spot, didn't we? It's almost like we were never there. Alright, there must be another duck somewhere. There's something over here as well. I mean, besides a giant view. The highlights give rise to a shape, but the shadows obscure parts of it, leaving our brain to fill in the blanks. Two people looking at that might actually see two different things. The sixth ducky! And it's surrounded by green mushrooms glowing. Okay, there has to be some real infra influence here. That's 6 of 6. We got them all. At least for this area. I'm really loving the ambiance here, both in terms of, well, the ambiance and the noise that emanates from the few like, notable landmarks we've discovered. It's like a rumble, a bass I can just barely feel. And it gives this place a sense of disconnect from any known reality. And, I don't know, a feeling that it's larger than life, like it has grand importance, but beyond my comprehension. Oh. Well, it's like Ghostbusters 2. We've got to hop into the pink goop. Yep. Well, we're not dead. It's the worst hasn't come to pass. You know what? Oh, look at you. Eyes glowing, arms carrying invisible watermelons. I rounded this corner, and the moment I started to see these bars, my brain tried to warn me that this is what happened in the demo, and I guess I didn't listen. Another person here. I mean, what are the odds? Okay, well, we've gotta get to you then. You're not gonna go ahead and despawn behind my back, are you? No? Okay, great. You stay right there. It might take a little while. Distant, discordant, compressed music that is clearly meant to be chill, or maybe ends up that way as a result of not even human intent. I mean, do you remember how VHS tapes sounded? Especially watching like anime from the 90s. They come away with a vibe that was partly intentional, but is ultimately something entirely new because of the limitations of the medium that they're being sent to you on. One generation's limitations are another's aesthetic, and the more aware I become of that, the more I have an appreciation for so many things. I mean, for example, the word aesthetic is now in common vernacular. I seem to remember there being a way to... Ooh. The ledges. I wonder if it's intentional or simply a byproduct that shadows are valued here. I mean, because there's so many sculptures containing light sources. So are the shadows an intentional result, or is it something they didn't value? This right here, it gives the impression of damage. It's shapes that remind us of a bridge falling away, of rebar poking out of its foundations. But its texture looks the same as anything else, so is it damage, or was it simply built this way for reasons we couldn't understand? Because the values here are different from what we would understand. There are trees here growing out of seemingly nothing. I saw another up there as well. Well, look, I think we might be able to climb up some of what was back this way. Actually, I'm kind of cheating and using some demo knowledge for this. It's completely black, but the fog, the haze that hangs in here allows us to see some corners. We can climb up this. And we carry a little bit of ambient light with us as well. We can drop down, too. If we walk along this side... Yep, there's some platforming. I didn't even realize we were falling here. Alright, jump towards the wall. That'll make it easier to stop moving forward. Yep. Gotcha. Duck 1 out of 36. Okay. So, the requirements have increased a bit. We can't get back up here normally. But hey, nothing much can really happen to us, right? In other words, this is like a playground. We could choose to see this as something that humbles us, that makes us feel so small and like we have no place in the universe, that we have no place here. Or we could see it the way a child sees a Chuck E. Cheese tunnel. Wait, could we always walk under here? No, we're inside the sloped structure. No, wait, no we're not. I'm so confused. In a good way. Like, to me, this reminds me of like a suspended subway car that's been torn apart. Oh, great, and we can walk the catwalks beneath it. Those maybe flimsy pillars supporting us. Do we want to do this yet, or do we want to move all the way down here first? Wait, this... Okay, no, I was going to say this might be the other side of those bars, but it's not. We've got a lot of freedom in where we go first. I mean, look, we can shimmy along this ledge, or we can walk the dangerous way. Actually, doing so might give us a better view. We will have an opportunity to reconnect. You know what? Since it doesn't really seem to matter, maybe we stay over here. I'm pretty confident that that could support our weight. But as for the other guy, well, it looks like we don't have a choice. Yeah, he was pretty rotund. It's a liminal space haunted by the entity known as the Fat Controller. Or, well, I'm American, so Sir Topham Hatt as I know him. Are you guys taking in the vastness? Like, I would have to... I almost felt like doing it right now with my big old monitor. I almost felt like, okay, I need to sit down and just scooch my way across this, because I do not trust myself to be so high above the ground as my height. Sometimes looking up can be more dizzying than looking down. I've still not determined the purpose of picking up the orbs of light. Maybe it's just something to occupy us. But I'm gonna be doing it where I can, nevertheless. It's not an officially tracked collectible, but maybe it's light. Light is the creator of shadows, so if shadows are valued here, maybe having more of them is like increasing our material wealth, maybe it's a status symbol? But what Johnsons are we trying to keep up with here? Ooh, look, see? We come to think of them as repeating patterns, where we can simply ignore those, because if we've seen one, we've seen them all. But that's not the case. Some of them have other architecture. Oh my. Yep. Now the question is, can we make it back? Yeah, that requires some precise key controls there. I don't quite remember what happens if we fall into the real nothing. I think I remember whatever it was. It wasn't that punishing, because this game is really not here to challenge you necessarily. Well, I'll tell you what it will challenge is your perception. A rare colored thing that isn't glowing. It looks almost like the back of a playing card. Some kind of artistic work. Looking down a long tunnel, perhaps, at another of those statues. I can just imagine it rotating and casting all kinds of shadows down the shaft leading to it. Actually, these lines are such that we can interpret it a number of ways. It may even just be a matter of what your brain catches onto first. Our eyes adjust to another kaleidoscope image. Maybe it's the complexity that was valued here. Look, we saw a being here. I have no problem going along for now with the idea that someone built this, and not just that it's some cosmic construct the same as any planet or asteroid. I think it's okay to say and assume that somebody built this. Hello? Hey kid, you want to find some ducks? I actually would like to find some ducks. Oh god, their eyes follow you wherever you go. I'm out of here, you're giving me the creeps. We can go up, or we can go left. Oh no, you screwed up! You were supposed to stay here, now I'll never talk to you. See, when you're in a liminal space like this, something that's so far beyond your reality, you're desperate for another. Just someone to talk to, someone who can explain what's going on. Simultaneously, you're terrified of encountering someone else. After all, what if they're not friendly? What if they, in some way, make you feel even more alone? Well, here, it's simultaneously devastating and a relief to get here and find that they've moved. And maybe we could even read some tensions into that. We can get a little peek right here. Sometimes a place is so close yet so far. So many staircases up and down. Up and down, not a thought spared to utility. And all of this so far is for the most part familiar. This is all the demo area that I played last year. There's a little pocket in there. Words! This place just hasn't been the same since the ducks came. Oh my god! You're right there! Hey, you followed me! Wait! You know, I knew you were gonna do that, but I'm still... well, I guess part of me is still surprised, by default. English words. Is this some kind of universal language? Well... actually, it kind of seems, given the circumstances, like you're trying to show me something. Like you want me to see this, to bear witness. Maybe this place wasn't always empty? I'm also very amused, by the way, by the idea that these things were not an apocalyptic threat, but were an annoyance. Or that your arrival after this place's creation was somehow a drag. Yep. I'm not sure if that was worth it or not. Oh, it sure was. I see a face. I see a head, eyes, ears. Oh, I see. These things give us temporary light. I thought that was eyes adjusting, but it fades away after a time. To me, that looks like 4 eyes of a wise being staring into my soul, imparting some knowledge. Wait. How did we end up back... Wait. Okay, I confused myself big time right there. So now instead of that way, we're gonna go forward, and something I just noticed. Look at how crooked those stairs are. There a reason for that? Who knows? But as I was saying, it almost seems like the civilization who lived here valued complexity. That's why the one and only clothing stop in this place was Dan Flash's. Could spend a lot of money in there, but to be fair, those shirts have to be expensive because the pattern's so complicated. Well, there's some kind of entryway down there. Can we reach it is my next question. See, look, until you're right on top of those stairs, it looks like a sheer drop into the abyss. Since we know someone is aware of our presence and is possibly following us, we should probably be keeping an eye out always. Look at that, this hall is separated by an arbitrary wall. A series of windows so we can still see what's up. Can we cannot shimmy the outside. Those ducks in hard-to-reach areas will be marked by green mushrooms, so they're not totally obscure. Like I said, I'm not going to commit to, not leaving until I find all of them, but I am going to try to find as many as I can, Well, you're definitely indicating that there's one nearby, right? Aha! Look at that! See, it keeps them from being frustratingly obscure, while still allowing them to be amusingly obscure. Now again, getting back is the real problem. Yep. Where is your little guy? Perhaps these things just grow some places? I don't... Oh my... That actually made my stomach drop a little bit. I did not expect this texture of floor right here. Actually, everything is screwing with my perspective. Yeah, I don't see where this ducky could be. Unless it's above. Now, I seem to remember there being some pretty big tangents here, and yeah, look at how far back we're coming. But what's the point of an exploration game if you're not willing to go off on tangents, right? There's definitely things up here. It's like they're bringing mushrooms to the ducks. These shadowy figures. And this overlooks where you came from. Look at that tree defined by its highlights right up against that lamp. Okay, let's trust there to not be a drop in the middle of this. Aha, there you are. I mean, it's almost like the ducks were, I don't want to say worshipped in some way, that's not the language we saw on that wall, which at this point is like the Rosetta Stone for understanding this place. But, you know, maybe it's a bit of a forced situation? Like, you will bring us what we desire or else? They're like alien invaders. They came here to harvest their mushrooms. It's kind of like how cats are to humans. They want what we have. Yep, once more. Backtracking is the ticket. See, now we're used to these sharp 90-degree angles, but look at the swaying motion here. And I'm not sure, actually, if it's the tree that's swaying or the lamp. Either way, those shadows are something entirely unexpected, like tentacles. Nothing over here. Just decorations. Now, these are obviously huge structures, but with the lighting and emphasis on shadows, it also makes things that are much smaller seem bigger than they are. You know, where something like this tree, its presence can be felt throughout this entire great chamber. But now we're reaching the end of the road. The end that's broken off. Hey, I remember this room. And I distinctly remember that there is a way to get in there. There's more of that wall art. A significant number of this level's ducks are hiding there too. I'm not sure if we'll be able to reach that overhang. Nope, and I don't think it would help if we did. We can always try and go for this guy over here. If we fall, trying again may not be the easiest, but we got you. See, from this perspective, when we're actually inside it, it doesn't look like it's broken at all. What's more, though, I'm not seeing a good way around. I'm pretty sure I remember being able to come back. Guide me in the darkness, mushrooms. You're all I've got. I'm being led into the dark, just following these little light sources down a pitch-black, narrow corridor. I oddly don't feel any malevolence from it, not even when it ends in a red glowing doorway. If it can be called as such. It makes me think of some kind of seed, like something that grows life from it. But something which takes millennia to actually reach maturity. I don't know why that was the first thought that popped into my head, but it looks like we're not done with the dark hallways just yet. This one we can hardly see until our ambient light lights up its trimmings. But these mushrooms, they're the only way we'd even know there was a hallway in these corners. Looking back at what we've just overcome. You take it piece by piece and you'll be amazed at how far you're getting. You try and look at the whole and it'll feel hopeless. Things are opening up a bit. It's incredibly disorienting. Well, actually, this is maybe a friendly gesture. You're placing these here to guide my way. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Maybe trying to tell me not to be afraid of you? That you're a friend? Well, here's our way out. But you know what? I think I've made the same mistake as last time. Oh, wait. There's something over here. Yep. Yep. Sweet. Alright, so that's 8. Come on. I don't care particularly if I fall here. And that's gonna be a good thing, because just made it. Wait, if we fall off, where do we end up? Right back where we started. Wait, so can we even get back from this point? I swear we could before. Is there anywhere else we'd rather fall? Maybe down onto that platform. That's the ticket. Yep, there it is. Okay, I had to go back and I looked at my own video of the demo to figure out how I got in here. Look at that. Look how easily missable this is. It's right there in the gap. Can easily be dismissed as just light on a surface. Well, I suppose it is. And here it's like the sun coming up, but we found the ducky room. It's actually slowing us down. Oh wait, no, it's low gravity. It's even got its own soundtrack. It's a free-for-all of Easter eggs. 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh, there's still so many ducks out there. Oh man, how long is it gonna take for us to fall? 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. And that leaves all but 9 ducks. Look at this. Does it seem at odds with the world they've created? Well, no, because it's in this game, and so it's not at odds. It's creating the world, it's setting its tone. And aren't you here for it? Wait. Look at that, it was telling it to us the whole time. Stand here and look around and you'll find it. Back to the top of the tower. And I think that's one more opportunity to look back at everything we've overcome. Actual machinery or pipes. Something still working here? Either way, it enables the mushrooms to grow and to glow. I don't think they're pointing out a duck this time, though. Look. Look at the infinity stretching out in front of us. The golden pine cone overseeing this. See, from down below, it looks so important, like we're walking into a throne room. We get there, and it's just another sideshow, a statue off to the periphery. Checking behind each of you guys. Although the ducks would probably give off enough of a glow that we would be able to find them. Glow and grow are both words that we're going to be using a lot in this playthrough, I imagine. We're getting pretty close to where the demo ended, I think. So I'm really happy to finally have the chance to move beyond. Okay, last time? Look at you, eyeless and rough-textured. Like you've got skin lesions, some kind of horrible disease. There's still a bit of room to explore around you. This coming immediately after the whimsy room. can't say this game doesn't express a range of emotions. Oh, look, right here. We can follow the lights into a secret room. Wait, so do we keep going this way? Will we be able to find our way back? I suppose we have to try, right? Oh man, it's so dark. Just move slowly and be careful where you step. Really careful. 'Cause there's a pit. We're on the underbelly of this thing. Well, really, look, we're on the opposite side of the wall. Look out there. More pillars just as large as these in the fog, stretching off until we can't see anymore. Alright, well, this way is closer. We've just gone down one chute of many. That one just happened to have the exposed walkway. I really have to think at times about whether it's really worth it to turn around and walk somewhere. From here, we can maybe drop down? Dude, how far out of my way have I gone? Is it even possible to see everything on one run? We could even challenge ourselves a little bit. Hopscotch. Oop. Oh. This is so weirdly connective, but what is that back there? Like the tops of palm trees facing towards us, pinned along the wall. A bar, or like a cafeteria area. Dining with a view, it's beautiful. And so are you, little ducky. Let's see, can I make my way back? Hang on. I think what we found may have just been a shortcut. This is probably where that hallway ends, if my spatial awareness is anything to go by. Oh, we fell a lot farther than I thought, huh? I'm glad I didn't miss this. Water purification systems were infested by the mushroom virus. Everyone tried to get to the city through the dungeons. I am the only one left. So it's a fallen civilization. And this stuff isn't good for you. So, alright, well, first of all, what do you guys have need of dungeons for? And yeah, if this stuff was in your water supply, that's the end. What more can you even do? Well, it is telling a surprisingly concrete story. We look at new angles on places we've already been and see them completely differently. I swear, we're just fishing for desktop backgrounds now. You could hit F12 at any time and have people ask about it for years. This time we're going the opposite way. We can hear the wind sounds as we cross over these gaps. Walking forward in the dark. Nothing but dark. Aha! And we found something more. Yep. Are you sure you're the only one left, or are you the only one left as far as you know? Not a word to say to the observer from another world. God, that was so creepy how it was arranged. We rush up the end in sight, we know to look up after we grab it because of the red glow, and then we turn around and find that they saw us before we saw them. Now we're back here. We can begin our descent. Hey, you up there, how are we getting at you? I figured we'd see you through here. See, it's worth looking in every nook and cranny because you never know what's going to lead to a staircase that leads somewhere crazy. Touching this button causes the gates to open, but you to abscond. No, I think if we want you, we're gonna have to fall onto you, which means more backtracking. We can maybe make this a little bit easier for ourselves by dropping here instead of elsewhere. Still a lot of potential to mess this up, though. Yep. And yep. There we go. 31 ducks. Look, something's broken through the bars. Twice. Something strong enough to do that, but something, I guess, not very big. Alright, well, you're indicating, yes, that there's something here. Yep. And yep. It is so tight, some of this platforming. Gotcha. That'll be 32. I don't remember how many we got last time. But we do have to make it back. It's not going to put it back where we started. Yep. We got to finesse those keys in places. This is possibly broken off, but what is that light down there? Wait, you saw that. Yep, there's something there. It's counterintuitive, but it works. And it's not just a visual effect, a distortion caused by being far away. There really is a low-hanging fog. What if we try walking around the other way? No reason to do that. Anything around any which way? Nothing. Although this time, we've only one choice. We could have just continued walking straight along the bridge. Instead, we take the road less traveled. And that's the whole point of exploration, right? I feel like a lot of games struggle to keep players motivated during things like this, but this one finds no such issue. Smaller goals, finding collectibles and secret areas, and the larger goal of simply getting out. Remember when that was our whole world and now it's just a smear in the distance? Okay, hug this wall as tightly as we can. There we go. Got it, you. 33 lucky ducks. Alright, coming back here, is this just... yeah, this is just where we came down. See, if you don't take these sideways, you'll be coming through here looking at this like, how the heck do I get up here? Some of the solutions are somewhat counterintuitive. But the little objectives reward the big ones. Or I should put it this way, the little objectives reward the core distraction, which is exploration. But these days, you know, sometimes it's hard to stay interested if you don't feel like you're doing something. You need to gamify it a little bit. So you get these meaningless little breadcrumbs that get you really engaging with the core part of the experience. Is this our exit? Cutscene says yes. Pushed to a deeper level of understanding. Or perhaps this is the dungeon. It certainly feels like one. Well, look, it said they escaped through the dungeon. Maybe those actions aren't interpreted as malice. Maybe they could be interpreted as getting us to safety. Then again, we are definitely exposed to the mushroom virus by now. Hey, more words. Words are the most valuable thing in the world. See, we are adrift in these spaces. That's the appeal of games like this and the Sun Sea. It's beyond our comprehension, but words bring it into focus, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's cryptic. Our brain craves it. It's like being thirsty in the desert and coming upon just a little bit of water leaking from a pipe. The upper level is lost. The water is poisoned and the mushrooms are spreading. If you've come this far, your only chance is the city. Pray it's still there. Ominous words. Maybe those in the cavity we found are just trying to take what they've got, aren't willing to risk making a journey to the city. Fog. Hey, I'm from the fog. Maybe we'll get along. Maybe I've got cred here. Now remember, with architecture such as this, perspective is important. I was wondering if we'd be able to see anything different turning around. But once more, we're trusting what's given to us in the darkness. Look at this! It's a symmetrical shape. Mostly. Or I think mostly. I can't help but see some kind of forest creature like a Spriggan standing over me. And hey, we found gold mushrooms! 1 duck out of 19. We can climb into the wall beside you. We don't even have to take the stairs. Every once in a while, there's like red and blue hues in the aliasing. Some kind of chromatic aberration, maybe? There's another review here. Like, I get the same impression from this as I do from, like, Morco and Infra. You know, that one graffiti on the wall at the dam? Or I don't think it was a dam. I don't quite remember what it was. But you know what I'm talking about if you watched me play Infra. And if you like exploration and you haven't watched me play Infra, well, go check it out. Or get the game yourself, because you are in for a treat. But the reason I bring up Infra in this game so much is because it's really got a similar sense of humor. Look at you hiding in the wall. The thing about these shadows is that they, in some ways, obscure the structures that are here, but also create phantom structures, making the place seem more complicated than it even is. Did I see something down there for just a moment? Oh my god! What is that? There's layers to this hallway. Oh, it's a collapsed piece. You know, with that drawing on the wall in mind, I kind of thought it was some sort of creature. And can you blame me? What is going on? I've got the hiccups. And it's going to be all your problem. Because stuff like this, I try to do minimal cutting. Alright, this is going to be our best bet. Sometimes it pays to turn around. Ooh, how are we reaching you? Things really haven't been the same since the ducks came. Were you just here to show me that? Nope. Here to show me that. Well, nope. Well, I am flying entirely blind now because being pushed down that shaft is where the demo ended. Alright, maybe there's some way to get up there. These things might show us where something is, but won't necessarily show us the way to get to them. How are we doing this? Are we gonna have to come back along this entire outer wall? Probably. First of all, there's you in here. Second of all, greater difficulty. Can we make that? We're dependent on bars we can't really see. Whew. Oh, well, we could just end up back over here. I'm hearing some mighty creepy howls from the abyss. I feel like I'm having to look inside each of these spaces, these openings. Well, there's an easy duck family. What is the relationship between these and the others? Look at your eyes, completely white, two of you glowing. You were goofy at first, but there's a real malevolence to you, isn't there? I don't think we can make that jump. There's so many places that we just can't reach. A narrow gap so we can see what's where. But visibility isn't our problem right now, it's access. Rat in a maze, it's all designed to keep us moving back and forth. Look at this, the shadows fall over so that it looks like there's gaps, but it's not even stairs at all, it's a ramp. Sometimes the shadow creates the impression of parallel ramps as well. Really, nowhere to go from here? We're in the upper level now, which means we can drop down wherever. I'm trying to make this not dizzying, but the temptation to whip my camera around at every juncture is very strong. Now this is the royal entrance. As if we can derive anything about anything. Wait. Hey, this looks remarkably similar to where we just came from. It's just sending us back and forth, but the up and down doesn't even seem possible. Like, it almost feels like these things should have crossed over at some point. But I guess we climbed up on those ramps higher than we thought. Yeah, the ambient track is a little bit more foreboding now. Hey, an inverted one, a glowing one. Being of static. Hey, I just had a horrible thought. What if the shadow ones we've been encountering, what if they're the ones who were infected, the ones who were lost, and you're a real example of an inhabitant of this world? That artwork depicting shadows. That artwork depicting some of them indulging the mushrooms and the ducks could be a hint of that. This mushroom doesn't glow at all, but it has grown quite tall. You join the shadow work. That is so cool looking. This game manages to make iconic imagery look effortless, like it's not even trying to be cool. Static duck. For a second I thought we were approaching our friend. But nothing happens with you on touch. Occasionally it sounds like there's something else in there as well, some kind of tone. I wonder if we're as creepy to them as they are to us. Back around to here. See, from a certain angle, these look like the end of the road, but they're not. Have I just been completely turned around? I do believe I have been. No. No, I haven't. Because you're here. stairwell. Not obvious at a glance. Say this is a dungeon, that would explain the bars, that would explain the basement. But the rest, I'm not so sure. Okay, well maybe this does fit the bill for a dungeon, now I think about it. Could potentially jump down there? No, I can't make it over this lip. Let's see what's down below then. Every once in a while I hear that ghost whisper in my ear. So you see one thing that looks like dungeon, you turn around, and you see like something that looks like the plaza outside of a bank. When I hear that moan, looking at the artwork, it kind of makes it seem like it's speaking to me, doesn't it? Like it's a huge pillar, or a tiny miniature of a skyscraper. We choose what we see in it, but it's real disorienting when we turn around and realize we're so widely exposed on all sides. I don't know, I feel like all this really screws with the human instinct to get into cover. You know, to have some walls surrounding you, being out in the open like this kind of freaks me out a bit. There's staircases everywhere, I don't even know where to start. The bottom of this stairwell is entirely enclosed. Here we can see that gap we were trying to jump earlier. You get the impression that this may have been more open at some point, but that time was long, long in the past. Anyway, we can make our way over here and grab Leda. Thank you. 11 remaining. That's how it is for everything in this place. You've got to go up to go down. And we stare longingly through one set of bars while you may have been on the other side earlier and not even remember. We can't even come up here. Oh, yeah, we can. Oh, no, we can't. Unfortunately, we lost our knees when we left our initial galaxy, so now we can't crouch. Oh boy, where even am I? Let's try this other one. The stairs next door have an opening here. And we're out into the main way. No railing. Well, there's never been one, but now more than ever I feel the need to point it out. Oh my god, that's a duck. Just as I was about to make a commentary, like, what if those are eyes of some huge creature? There's static coming from this lamp as well. Are you the same thing that faded away before? You can vaguely see the contours of your face, but for the most part, you're just a grin suspended in the fog. Fog that is very, very thick down here. I thought I just heard something. Well, we're here. We may as well keep looking. A lot of these are going to prove to be dead ends. certain stage, I've got to prioritize. See, on its surface level, like, if you just glance around, you might think this was the plaza of, like, a bank or a business center. Until you realize, no, I'm not safe. There are no doors, no place to rest, nothing. Even worse, I think, than something that your brain doesn't recognize is something that it thinks it recognizes at first. Well, at least you're not glowing. You are, though, another one consumed by the static. That ringed pattern emerging on one edge. Actually, between faceless and glowing eyes, I'm not sure which of the two is worse. Ah, look, this game has a way of always bringing us back over where we've already glanced. Parallel hallways that, again, are so close yet so far. These levels are like a horseshoe sometimes. Hey, were you there a second ago? Were you? They're following us. So I suppose there is a bit of a horror undercurrent to all of this, if that wasn't already clear. Maybe they're the originators of the mushroom virus. Maybe it made the jump from ducks to mushrooms. Which is quite an evolutionary feat, I will say. But things don't work the same way out here in the cosmos. This bridge stretches forever, vanishing into the fog. But it's the only way. Whatever you do, don't look down. We heard something move below us. That is so ominous. It sounds like poetry, carries the weight of the unknown, and yet comes off as simple advice. Attached not to a vague narrator of poetry, but to someone just trying to warn us. There's a mushroom up there. Is that something we can reach ourselves? Sure looks like it, doesn't it? Oh, I got a duck. But we're not done. Walking over our own old path. See, I could have driven myself crazy trying to get at that thing earlier. Instead, the solution was right over here, 13 of 19. So we'll have to find out. Does it truly extend forever? Well, the dilemma's already been solved for us. It's the only way. Wait, now I've lost track of where we've come from and where we need to go. We've been up here already? Yes, I believe we have. So continue the obvious direction then. This level wasn't all that big, but it certainly felt big. What a time for the music to fade out. For a moment that looked like glowing eyes. These pillars so unfriendly, like devil horns. Not even an obvious part of the structure, supporting nothing. You said you heard something move below. can't help but feel like I'm being chased. You're really allowing me a lot of time to sweat this out. What's gonna happen? What's it gonna do? You may have heard something moving below, but I see something moving ahead. And it looks like I'm already on one of its many tendrils. Lovecraft wept. Oh, and there is your doorman, Ducky McDuckerson. I was so focused on getting closer to you, trying to resolve what huge being is in the fog. I hadn't realized I was already well within its tendrils. It's almost like they're daring me. Well, I've definitely not got all of them. 14 of 19. Tendrils are to do with you. You're ushering us along. This doesn't look unlike when we arrived. Are we in the club? The Golden Duck. The golden representations of the beings who came before, statues. All watching me, judging me as the shadows dance around and seem to give them life. Now I'm not so sure. Now I'm starting to think that the static is a sign of infection and that the staticky ones, well, they may be enslaved by the ducks, made to do their bidding. Have we reached the city at last? It may take some while to find out. Well, the color palette is a little bit different here. Things are leaning towards a coolish sort of blue, though, like anything, it's barely there. Look at this whole chamber, and you've got to take it for a whole. It's that floating thing in the center that's doing it, that origami sculpture. Look, underneath the stairs. One of 32, so we're going to be a bit of a bigger level this time, I think, unless there's another massive stockpile somewhere. This one may not be the dead end that the right path was. Those jutting angled walls creating shadows of their own. Whoa. See, all of this was hiding just around the back. Oof. I think we found the city. Oh, that is vertigo-inducing. And the lights are on, although that may not mean anything. The fact that mushrooms are growing here is actually a very bad sign, isn't it? And it's kind of funny, they have trained us to see mushrooms as a good thing. We are delighted when we see them because it means we can find a duck. However, it's pretty much the thing that spelled doom for this whole civilization. The ducks are the destroyer of worlds. Where even am I? Sometimes you just gotta go where it takes you, huh? There's you hiding in a corner there. Yeah, we're only a little over 10% of the way through them. I suppose the ducks can also be a way to gauge your progress through the level in general, right? Tower. Look at these lamp pillars jutting out of the walls. Because of the scale of this, it feels like I'm about to bump my head on them, but really they're quite far above me. Hey, look at you. We need to get at you. So we're going to want to be high up on the stairs. Yep. And touching this globe does nothing. But we can just for a moment get on top of the post. Alright, well at least we don't have to climb this whole thing again. You know, it's a good thing we have this body, because can you imagine what trying to pump air through human lungs would be like going through all this? More words, your words are gospel. This practically is the city, but we're barely deep enough to escape. The corruption has already spread here, too. We need to push further. That feels almost like a message to me. Like something made in the moment. Okay, we're gonna have to follow the mushrooms through another set of dark corridors. In mushrooms we trust, we have no other choice. Oh my god! You know, I shouldn't even be surprised considering this is the exact scare they did the last time they did this. There's a little ghost ducky in there. Or something. If we follow off into the dark, will that get us to this? Yes, it will. Look at this. We're actually starting to see ornate, actually differently colored mountings on the walls and ceilings and floors. Part of the question is why here and not anywhere else? Like, what makes this place so special? But then I have to remember that everything we're looking at is from a completely different perspective, so how do we even know that this counts as special? Oh, back into the dark. Because I don't believe we came this way. Only bars to be seen, a wild goose chase. They tricked me and could easily hide something on the way back. Just as I was starting to think, did we come this far on the way in? A red orb. Somehow it being smaller makes it feel more menacing. Like restrained rage. But just for now. I mean, cowabunga, right? And back to here. Or somewhere like before. What am I looking at again? Oh man, I am so lost. This place is massive, nothing short. I hear static from somewhere. Dude, color me officially disoriented. Well, we've never been here before. I know that much because we haven't picked up this duck before. It's number 7. Thing is, I can't be backtracking like I was before because there's not really a clear progression. Not really a clear exploration path either. Oh no. This game doesn't let us go anywhere unless it wants us to. Which means it wants us to look at this. Huh, gotcha. That's 25% of the way finished. If ever there were a game where it pays to look up. Whoa. Now I know why it's called the tower. I can't help but be reminded of an open mouth, like a jack-o'-lantern with light emanating, not lemonating. Lemonating is what you do to grilled chicken. Hey, so that sounds distinctly like breathing. Look. The red static sounds angry. And it looks like you're confronting somebody from across the way. Oh, lots of you are just in there, and what is happening to the one in the center? Like they're making a sacrifice to some dark god. And of course, there's no way for us to get in. We can only observe. There is no way for us to get in, right? There is. But I think you're statues. No eyes. You know, it may be awkward to ask in this moment, but is this thing related to ducks? We need Hugh Neutron on this one. What are you? Oh, of course. It's a tendril duck. A duck themed around whatever we just came through. It's like my legs are getting heavier. I'm walking slower and slower. I can't run anymore. It's like you're hypnotic, slowing me to a crawl, forcing me to watch you while you watch me. I could turn back, but it takes so long to even reverse direction. Just a little bit more, making us work for every inch. And making me work my way back. I jump in slow motion as well. But look, this here, it should be the opposite, right? I should begin to gain speed, feel myself breaking free as I go the other way. It's what's needed. And it becomes exponentially less painful. Until sooner or later we're running almost like normal. I feel every bit of that. Wow, it's really trying to ask you, is it worth it to go after this one duck? And the answer is yes, obviously. I don't know what I'm doing from here, though. You know what? I'm just happy to be away from there. To be away from another of this place's many horrifying sights, and it is definitely leaning more towards horror the further we go. Turns out the shadow people were the least of it. Distant lights through narrow slats. I find that so beautiful. And you know why I think that is? I think it's because I associate it with, like, looking through those plastic blinds they have in office buildings in a city at night. Associations don't have to be uncomfortable. Look at this, shining a light up through the stairs so that it casts all these shadows. Whoa! I fell through the floor and found a duck. I'm also alone in the dark now. Unless I fall even farther. Is there any other way out of this? Sure, to fall even farther. Back to here. Well, I'm sure not going to the slowpoke chamber again. So now instead of falling into the pit, we climb upward. Look at you. And look at this. It's hard to tell in the dark and the fog, but it's almost like this city has, well, a ceiling. And here, we're even seeing, like, what we interpret to be windows, but could just be lights, built into, like, pillars that support it all. Where do we go from here? It's just a dead end. As far as I can tell. Unless... Nope, I've missed an opening. You know, I've been trying to wonder about, like, why this sort of thing appeals to me so much. Like, megastructures like this. And I really think it's because of seeing The Empire Strikes Back at a young age. Cloud City is so much like this. Cramped corridors full of lights and huge vistas like this. And an inverted city. Being able to look up and see skyscrapers with their tops pointed at you. But hey, we're up here now. We've climbed much farther than I would have imagined. And we're about to climb even higher. All of these make me feel like I'm being stared at. Well, some of these beings definitely know I'm here. Don't look so shocked, you. I've been onto your game from the very beginning. I mean, look, an art gallery built into a staircase. What are these? Legos! Or gold? Or surge protectors? It's impossible to know. This large tower supposedly leads to a station that connects further into the city. Hopefully the admin left the way open. We are trying to fix this. Well, I hope so too. Earlier on, I was wondering whether the leaver of these messages is another traveler like me, or actually a member of this civilization. Their wording in a lot of ways leads me to suspect that it's somebody who's from here. But I don't know. This is a game of angles so often. I think we may have been on that balcony before. In fact, maybe not even such the distant past, but having so little in the way of, like, stimulation and objectives, it really distorts my sense of time. Like, I think I've been recording for quite a while, but it doesn't feel that long. And at the same time, feels like it's been eternity. Of course, as they say, it's eternity in here. So is this the inside of the tower? Hello? Oh, it's just a couple of tiny lamps on the wall, even though you've never done that before. The larger light is blinding, and with the fog, you know, I'm trained to anticipate low contrast, so a bare wall looks a lot like fog from even a few feet away, and you like someone waiting for me within it. And things get much darker as we ascend toward the ceiling. It'll just loop over itself over and over and over again. Oh. Look at that. You know what? It may actually be serving as a floor counter. I guess time will tell. We'll find out with the next one. But from the look of it, this doesn't stop anytime soon. It also seems to skip one each time we do this. Let's try running around the other way. It's in theory less efficient, but maybe we'll find something? I don't think the ground is level. Either that or the angles are really screwing with me. No, it's just bringing me downward. Spiraling down. Why am I continuing to follow this path? Because I'm curious, that's why. Why is this here? It looks level at a glance, but it's right to go up, left to go down. Of course, for all I know, it's screwing with me. Some geometric anomaly that means I'm actually just running in a circle. Well, we're not gonna make that mistake again. This explains why it's skipping. We go up one level when we go to the right and around. Or left from this perspective. I believe that puts us now up to 11. And possibly just one more after this. I'm hopeful for that outcome, because otherwise we could be doing this indefinitely. We haven't found anywhere near all the ducks, but this place has been huge. Like, nothing short of mind-boggling. Well, there's no other stairs above this one. Unless they're hiding in the darkness. And every time we've climbed higher, the city lights have been further and further below us, leaving us more in darkness, more dependent on the lamps on the walls. No more stairs, but we're continuing on the slightly upwardly inclined ramp. Like a screw being twisted into the ceiling. For what purpose? I don't know, maybe hanging some kind of mega brutalist ceiling fan? Oh my god. Are we finally making progress? Yes, stairs, more stairs. There's a lot in the dark. Anything beyond the pillars is something I want to see. But I've got to be my own light. I'm not being much of my own light. Like a hungry, hungry hippo. And temporarily extending my reach only goes so far. Into here. Well, that led us around. But it didn't find me anything. We haven't seen ducks in forever. Oh no, we have choices of where to jump in. But I'm gonna jump to the thing I can see through? The sea beneath. Sewers, but almost like the buildings themselves are mirrored underneath the floor. A floor we somehow just reached by climbing to the top. So often in this game you have to go up to go down, but this is ridiculous. Ridiculous, some might say. Huh, I guess we're actually in their element now that I think about it. 11. I can't believe this is all still the same level. And actually, look. That gradient over there, it makes it look like a hill, but when you really look at it, you'll see that it's individual waves, slices. Slices of thin wall. Those pillars are twisted and curved. A weird contrast to the more jagged, angular buildings. Well, I call them buildings. My desperate attempt to make sense of something. When you call it a city, you set yourself up for it. When I peek out over the railings like that, I almost feel like the water is rising. I don't know why I create that feeling in myself, but if I can get into there. Yep. Hey. Oh wait, we're leaving, and there were still 20 more ducks. But this place was massive. There was no way I could find them all. Wait, we made it! Huh, I didn't expect a happy ending of that variety. That only took about 2.5 hours. A gondola to nowhere. It felt like we were at the worst moment of our journey. Like hope had faded. We ended up in the dumps, but it actually is the way to escape infection, or at least one hopes. Maybe the ducks aren't the worst of it. Maybe they just are disaster tourists that like to chill where these things go and destroy civilizations. Observers, just like us. But yeah, so that was Project Structure 01, and it was really, really cool. It doesn't take itself too seriously. You know, the ducks, they function as Easter eggs to keep you moving and exploring and motivated to do so, as well as add a little bit of levity. But that doesn't stop it from still taking its world seriously. It is awe-inspiring and creepy, and there's a dark feeling that you're walking through ruins and not just the incomprehensible. But there is the hope. There's the hope that you can reach something, somebody who might help you or be glad to see you at the end of it. But also the worry that it really is too late. We still haven't really seen, but it's ending on something of a hopeful note. I mean, the fact that the trains are still running, right? Well, thank you for playing, and thank you for providing me with a key for this game, because this was so much fun. I do wonder if anything different happens if you actually go and get all the ducks. And we're back to base. See the difference a left turn makes. I'm coming back to try and, find some of the paths I didn't travel. I don't believe I ever came up here. Ooh. How am I gonna manage this? This is the way we came earlier, which means we haven't been up here. Perhaps this was more linear than I even believed? No. There is something there. I am so close to reaching this thing, come on. Come on, there we go! There's one of you hiding right here behind the pillar. I only realize now that this looks back to the area we entered from. Yeah, on our replay, I'm finding this to be more linear than I thought, so where could these things have been hiding? Well, at the very bottom of this, there's a chain of mushrooms. We never did go left, but we can trust in it. And it just decided to toy with that trust. Whoa. A skyway sidewalk, complete with light posts. Watch your step, not something to walk while drunk or in the rain. Although if you do both and manage to make it, you win a prize. Howdy. Is this gonna be where you were all hiding? The duck greets us, but we've not yet found our way. This might be a good place to start, though. Come on. Up here. We can definitely use this extra light while we've got it. Anywhere good from here? We'll have to look around in places. Big jump. Yeah. This is some of the riskiest platforming we've done. There we go. There we are! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So yeah, I probably have found the overwhelming majority of ducks in the game at this point. There were a few back there that I didn't get this time around. The art design is really good here, even for how minimal it is, and really especially because of how minimal it is. There may only be a handful of visual elements at play here, but it utilizes them in a million different ways, and every area feels unique. It's really fun how, even though it is a vibes game and an art game first, where the main purpose is to take in these amazing vistas, it still has gameplay that really works here and makes it feel a lot less heavy. Because, like I said, it gives you little things to do while you're making your way through the big places. Actually, now that I think about it, the story and gameplay are sort of at odds with each other in a good way, because the story is mostly delivered through observation and through reading those texts on the walls. And that's all about moving you forward. You've got to get to the next waypoint. You got to make your way along this basically railroad to the final stop where you may be safe. The danger itself is vague, but always felt through those handful of creepy moments. Ultimately, the gameplay is the opposite. It's about making you linger, making you look in every little place for every duck you can. Why do you even want that? Who knows? Who cares? And in doing so, it allows you to appreciate the greater environment more. Anyway, I had a tremendous amount of fun with this one. I'm so glad to see it finally release. And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this game out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one.